Hey, my name is Dalton Hardiman, and this is my final Capstone project for fall 2020. And the company that I chose to do research on is the Home Depot. A little bit about Home Depot's history. It was started by Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank in 1979, and there's a cool story behind it. These two were friends in California, and they were both working at a local hardware store in California. And these two were trying to be innovative and creative, and they were trying to improve their store by changing up some dynamics within it. And the managers and the corporate leaders, they didn't like it because they were trying to change their strategies, so they ended up being fired from that hardware store. And that was in like 1977. So from 1977 to 79, they were trying to figure out and plan and create a new hardware store that was different from all others during that time. And they did just that. They moved to Georgia and they opened 2 stores in 1979 in the Atlanta area, and they operated under the name The Home Depot. The current corporate leadership, which the 2 founders are still on top, they're still in charge of the day-to-day corporate level decision making. But the people right under that are Craig Menear, and he is the chairman and CEO. Ted Decker is the president of Home Depot, as well as the corporate operating officer, the chief operating officer. And Anne Marie Campbell, who is the executive president, who is in charge of all the U.S. stores, as well as international operations. And there is still a longer list of corporate leaders, but these are the top 3. There's also a vice president for the Canadian stores and a vice president for the Mexican division within Home Depot. Home Depot's company mission. Home Depot's mission can be summed up by a quote by both founders, and this company mission can be found within the company's Bill of Rights. And the quote goes, "Customers should always expect the best assortment, quantity, price, as well as help of a trained sales associate every time they enter a Home Depot store." And I think that's really cool because they're not only offering products that the consumer wants at good prices, they're also offering an expert staff to help them during the purchasing process, which is very important and very key to Home Depot's success. The company's vision, which is a lot like their mission, but it also shows what they're doing now to prepare for future business. The Home Depot's vision can be recognized through a corporate vision strategy, and that strategy is the inverted pyramid strategy, in which a normal pyramid strategy is CEOs at the top, employees, associates in the middle, consumers at the bottom. But Home Depot has inverted that, making the consumer the most important in their vision, their employees and associates in the second position, and then the CEO corporate leaders are at the bottom and they're least important. And this just shows that Home Depot's true vision is not to make a profit, but to serve their customers by giving them the tools and materials needed to better their lives. And which this is a very cool company vision that Home Depot has. And regarding their consumers, their target market, which Home Depot obviously tries to market to the entire retail market and tries to merchandise their products to all customers, but it focuses on 3 specific customers, and that's the do-it-yourself customer, the do-it-for-me customer, and the professional customer. To go into a little more detail about that, the do-it-yourself customer goes into Home Depot, buys products and materials necessary for that job that they have, take it home, and they use the tools and materials themselves to fix the problem that they have individually. The do-it-for-me also goes to the store, buys the products and materials, tools needed for the job, but they also get Home Depot's help in doing the job. And Home Depot does this by hiring independent contractors or having a business associated with the specific store to help customers who need help. So let's say you need a faucet replaced, you have the materials and tools you need to replace it, but you don't know how to do it. So this is where Home Depot offers a serviceman to go to your house and is able to do it, which is another step showing how much Home Depot cares about its consumer. And finally, the professional customer includes construction companies, independent contractors, renovators, anyone who is doing a job for someone else but is using Home Depot as a means to getting tools and materials they need to complete that job. And moving on from there, Home Depot's products is just, the Home Depot has a wide array of products spanning from various types of lumber, kitchen appliances, as well as every tool imaginable, all the way down to flooring for houses. So the Home Depot offers all products that could be used for construction, home improvement, or any other odd job that requires a tool and materials to complete it. So basically, it's a one-stop shop for anything home improvement. Not only does Home Depot offer products, they also offer services, as I mentioned before. What separates Home Depot from many other stores in the same industry is their experienced staff members who work in their stores. Basically, Home Depot has an expert in every field of work in all of their stores to give customers advice and answer questions that they might have. They also offer tool and machinery rentals to the public, which is another cool service that Home Depot has. Also, many of their stores have handymen and repairmen on call for customers who need help completing their home improvement job. So Home Depot definitely separates themselves when it comes to the quality of their staff. That's a very key point in their company. It's a very key asset that that company has in making them a step above the rest. Because a quality staff is hard to find, especially these days. And going from there to Home Depot's financial analysis. And the financial analysis in general is a good way of showing how successful the company is currently and has been in the past. And also how in the future, how successful does it look like they're going to be. And what I've chosen is their net income to start off with. Home Depot's net income has been on an upward trend since 2015, besides a very slight dip at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, and that's been attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is not Home Depot's personal fault. But then quickly after that little dip, Home Depot has gone back up since then. In 2015, their net income was $6.3 billion, and currently now, 5 years later in 2020, it is up to $11.8 billion. So they've almost doubled their net income just within the last 5 years. That just shows you right there how successful they are. This steady increase of net income over the last 5 years shows Home Depot is a productive business that is improving year after year. The reason why they can increase their net income every year is by offering the best quality products at the best prices, but also having quality staff and quality services that they offer. And that just shows us they're not just selling products, they're also selling an experience that the consumer wants and keeps coming back for. And another step in financial analysis are the financial ratios, and these are from 2018 and 2019. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but I'll go into detail for a few of these ratios. In the liquidity category, the current ratio is very important, and you find the current ratio by taking a company's current assets and dividing them by their current liabilities. And what this shows is how much money does the company have currently, and is it enough to pay off their short-term debt. And in 2019, Home Depot had a 1.11 current ratio, which basically means for every $1 of debt they have $1.11 to cover it. So for every $1, they have 11 cents extra to cover it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they are for sure have enough to cover their current liabilities. And to go with a competitor, Walmart, their current ratio was 0.80, which means they have, for every $1 of debt, they only have 80 cents. So they're not operating they're not operating in the positive in terms of their current ratio. But Walmart is also a very large global company, and their current ratio is not as important as Home Depot's is. But regardless, Home Depot still has a better current ratio than Walmart. The next one I'm going to go to is under the asset management category, and it is inventory turnover. And the inventory turnover is the sales a company has divided by the inventories. And this shows you, it's basically done in cycles. So it's how much inventory the company cycles out or sells. And my research shows that inventory ratio between 4 and 6 is what a company really wants to be at, because if you have too high of one, it shows that your inventory is either sitting or is not on the shelves, and that's a problem in the retail market. So 5.3, which is what Home Depot had in 2019, shows that not only are they keeping their shelves stocked, they have enough money to buy enough inventory to stock their shelves, but their inventory is also liquid enough because consumers are constantly buying, which is a very good sign. Walmart's is at 8.75, so theirs is a little high for where most people would like a company's inventory turnover ratio to be at. But regardless, Home Depot's is doing better than Walmart in this category as well. And a third one I want to go over is our price per earnings ratio. And what this does is it takes a company's price per share and divides it by their earnings per share. So basically, this shows, well, in 2019, Walmart has an 18.86, basically 19. So what this means is investors, they are willing to spend $19 for every $1 that Home Depot is able to make. And that just shows how well Home Depot is doing and how much faith that investors have in buying shares on the stock market for Home Depot. And that's a great sign. Walmart's in 2019 is 42, and which obviously larger company, global scale, you would expect it to be higher. But for relative to Home Depot size, 18.86 is a great price per earnings ratio. Going on from there, Home Depot's market environment, it is basically the environment that Home Depot operates in. What is the contents, or what is the problems, what's the opportunities that this market has. And the market that Home Depot operates in is the retail market, but condensing it down even further, being more specific, they are in the home improvement market. The retail market is very broad, with multiple smaller categories or divisions within that larger market. So Home Depot is in the retail market, but their division within the retail market is the home improvement division. Home Depot's market is becoming one of the biggest industries in the market today. Home improvement spending nationwide has been growing at almost double the rate of any other retail sector. And that's great news for Home Depot. It just shows how much opportunity they have in the future. Today, Home Depot's retail home improvement market is thriving and full of potential for the future, which is great news for Home Depot. And going along with our market environment is the pestle analysis, and this just breaks down the different divisions within that market. And so pestle, it stands for politics, economy, social environment, technology factors, just the actual physical environment, as well as the legal factors that all get in the way of Home Depot trying to do business. And going into a little detail, the political factors include the government leadership, trade and tariff regulations, product legal requirements, things of that nature. The economy factors are government intervention in the market, how well the economy is doing in the market where Home Depot is doing business, unemployment rate, labor costs for employees, things of that nature. The social aspect to the pestle analysis include the overall culture of the country, the attitude of the country, the interests that and hobbies that that country has, gender, class structure. That all has to do with the social factors. The technological factors include the recent technology that is coming out, whether that's in products or in tools that Home Depot uses to conduct business on a daily basis, such as price scanners, cashier tools, purchasing products on the e-commerce side. All that has to do with technology. Now, the physical environment has to do with weather, recycling, the people going green, the endangered species. All that has to do with the environment portion of the pestle analysis, and which is big for Home Depot because they sell a lot of lumber, sell a lot of building materials, concrete, metal materials. All that has to be taken from the actual physical environment and brought into stores. So if there's a problem within that, Home Depot has a problem personally with that because they sell all of those products. And then the legal factors include copyright laws, discrimination laws, health and safety laws, anything the government issues out that's like a regulation, Home Depot has to abide by that. And all of these are factors that Home Depot cannot change on their own, but just have to figure out a way to use to their benefit. And going along with that are the Porter's 5 forces analysis. And this breaks down forces that are externally pushing against Home Depot. And these are 5 of them. The most important one is industry rivalry. And I wrote down Lowe's because Lowe's is their biggest competitor, because Home Depot and Lowe's are very similar. So it's hard to go against a business who is operating just as you are. But the way Home Depot does that is their quality of service. And then going to the bargaining power of buyers, going along with Lowe's, there's low switching costs, because if someone buys a product at Home Depot, it doesn't cost hardly anything to go buy that same product at Lowe's, because they are both very similar. So there's low switching costs across the board in the home improvement market. The bargaining power of suppliers is the same way. There's many different suppliers that Home Depot uses, and if Home Depot uses them, that means Lowe's and other companies use them as well. So the suppliers have control over the market because everyone needs the suppliers, and there's plenty of them in regards to the home improvement industry. Threat of a new entrant, and the newest entrant is Amazon, because they sell everything, and they also, to add to that, they deliver everything. So if you can buy lumber, tools right off the Amazon website, and they'll deliver it to your house within the next few days. So that's hard on Home Depot because it's easier on the consumer. And that's the newest threat in the home improvement market. And then another threat is the threat of substitute, which goes along with Lowe's, but I put down the most important one is online shopping, and that's going again back to Amazon. Because online shopping is so big right now, Home Depot has to be able to adapt and figure out a way to make themselves successful within the online shopping. And that is Porter's 5 forces analysis. And another analysis is the SWOT analysis, which breaks down to their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and their threats. The internal factors are their strengths and weaknesses. So, three of Home Depot's strengths are they're the largest home improvement retailer. There's more stores, so more opportunity for consumers to go to a Home Depot. That's a strength. Their quality of staff is 100%. Well, maybe their biggest strength is their quality of staff, but also they have high profitability. So they're making enough money to be able to take risks and be able to be creative in how they do business because they're not worrying about spending every dollar carefully. And their three weaknesses are limited supply chain because there's so many suppliers. Their little expansion internationally because they're only operating in 3 different countries, all right here in North America. So they could be a bigger global company, so that's a weakness. And also going along with that, their heavy reliance on the North American market. And if they're able to get outside the North American market, it adds some diversity to where their revenue is coming from. The external factors are their opportunities are global expansion, plenty of opportunity, online retail marketplace, there's plenty of opportunity there, as well as their private label products. They could do even more and focus on those more to make that a big opportunity. And the threats they have are industry competition, Amazon, Lowe's, Walmart, economic downfall, seeing as they only operate in North America, and also their 90% of their stores are in the United States. So if the United States has an economic downfall, Home Depot will most likely have an economic downfall. And lastly, the last threat is consumer preference changes, which is a smaller threat but still significant, because if the consumer preference changes against Home Depot, it's very easy nowadays for people to get the word out and people to stop shopping at Home Depot thanks to social media. And next is Porter's generic strategy, and Home Depot's generic strategy is they have cost leadership mixed with broad differentiation. And they do this strategy, they're able to complete it by providing the highest quality of service and products at the very best price. And the way they're differentiating themselves is through that quality. So Home Depot uses broad differentiation as its primary generic strategy and cost leadership as its secondary generic strategy. To maintain leadership is increasingly tough in this very competitive market. So they're using their quality to differentiate themselves, but also offering at the best price to have cost leadership as a part of their strategy as well. Their corporate level strategy, more specifically the scope of their products, Home Depot tries to attract all consumers through its wide variety of products. The wide variety allows Home Depot to cover a lot of the consumer market, making them very popular all over North America. These products are able to attract consumers from all walks of life, whether it be a plumber, roofer, stay-at-home mom, or even a small child working on a school project. Home Depot has products for all of those people. Their geographic scope, like I've said before, it's 100% located on the North America continent, and 90% of it is in the United States specifically. The vertical scope within their corporate level strategy is what it comes down to. Home Depot has been operating in the same industry for 40 years, and though their overall way of doing business has not changed much, but the means in which they do it has changed, as in e-commerce, online shopping, that kind of thing. A way Home Depot has made in addition to their vertical scope is by creating their own private label brands and being able to be exclusive retailer for some brands. An example of Home Depot's private label brand is their HDX brand, which includes various tools, roofing materials, flooring materials, and they are very, very comparable to the brand name products. And so if you get an HDX brand, you know you're getting the same quality as if you're getting a brand name that everyone knows. And then also an example of an exclusive brand that's sold only at Walmart is their Behr paints, and which Behr paints are well known in the painting community because of such their high quality, and Home Depot is able to add to their success by being the only retailer that offer Behr paints. So if you want Behr paints, you have to go to Home Depot. And their functional level strategy, one of their most recent ones, is One Home Depot. And this is a multi-year, 6-pillar functional level strategy, and it's been Home Depot's main corporate strategy for the last few years. And I go into great detail about this in my paper, but to go over it briefly, Home Depot has 6 pillars that hold up this functional level strategy. And it focuses on the people, refreshing their stores, innovating their products, improving their supply chain and delivery services, interconnecting and delivering an experience in the physical stores as well as the online stores. And they want to interconnect those, making it a better experience all around. And the pro ecosystem is they want to better their ecosystem with their professionals that shop there. And that's mostly with the big businesses that buy materials and tools from Home Depot. They want to improve that system that they have going on. And material business issues that have gone on recently is one of them being corporate crisis management. In 2014, Home Depot fell victim to a data breach that exposed many customers' personal credit card and debit card information. And just a couple of days ago, they reached a settlement of $17.5 million with 46 states and the District of Columbia over a 2014 data breach that exposed 40 million customers' payment card information. And their biggest problem with that was, at first, Home Depot did not want to say anything about the hacks, but they decided to wait it out and see if it would possibly go away on its own. And it didn't, which made this a very big mistake on their part. Another corporate crisis management is work unionization. Home Depot employees do not partake of unionization within the employees, and they never really have. Unions are to Home Depot a third party that gets in the way of their culture, which is a culture where they claim you can speak your mind and have a direct channel to management. And this is a quote from a former employee. And going on with that quote is, since we have such a good thing with benefits, 401ks, stock options, there's no reason to involve yourself within a union. But they don't necessarily hate the union because they hire ex-union workers. And basically that goes on. That's just showing that Home Depot does not want to have a third party telling them what they need to do with their employees. And as long as Home Depot has the employees in mind and trying to better their employees, that's fine. But if it ever goes, like the inverted pyramid shows, if that ever goes back naturally and it's just a regular pyramid, then work unionization will have to come into effect. But as long as that inverted pyramid strategy is going on, there's no need for work unionization. And also, a big crisis is COVID-19. And for Home Depot personally, there's been negative and positive effects. Negative effects include delays, product shortages, and temporary store closings. And the ways they have combated that, they've adjusted their hours to have more cleaning and sanitizing time, as well as continuing to disinfect high-touch and high-traffic areas several times during the day. And the positive effects that COVID-19 has had have come through heightened sales, increase in customer store numbers, and a major popularity in their home improvement industry. And it says Home Depot has surged in sales in the third quarter as Americans are spending more on home improvement as they remain home amid the coronavirus pandemic. And that was just reported last Tuesday, and the third quarter is talking about this quarter we just came out of, and which it shows that sales have gone through the roof during this pandemic. And finally, the recommendations I would have for Home Depot is to lessen their dependence on the United States. As I said before, 90% of their stores are on U.S. soil. This is a weak point for Home Depot because their diversity and revenue is very low because 90% of it comes from American sales. Home Depot is still relatively small in the international market, but it has the opportunity to become larger in the international market. The Home Depot Inc. entered China in 2006 by acquiring 12 HomeWay stores, which is a Chinese company, but by 2012 all the stores had closed. So this shows that Home Depot lacked in understanding Chinese culture. And in that article it said that they did not research and develop a strategy that would work in China, because a strategy that works in America might not work in China, and we saw that happen with Home Depot. And another recommendation I would have regarding their e-commerce situation, which they're doing great in their Home Depot e-commerce plans by way of their online shopping. But a recommendation that I would add to that is adding a delivery service that Home Depot, like a personal Home Depot delivery service. And this would be able to serve their customers in an even better way, especially now that the pandemic is going on. If Home Depot was able to develop a home delivery service, they could be first in the home improvement industry to have its own personal online ordering and delivery service. This could catapult Home Depot to new heights, and they would be able to compete on a better playing field with Amazon, because Amazon has the best delivery service right now. And if Home Depot could add to their assets by adding a delivery service, that would be great on their part, because it would just be a better way Home Depot could serve their consumers. And that is the end of my PowerPoint. These are my references. Thank you very much.